Alright, here we go. Here we go. I'm not going to let the audio repeat to verify the audio. I'm just going to take a leap of faith. I'm going to assume the audio streaming is working, and we'll see where that gets me. Now, I look like a mess, but actually I'm very clean. It's just that when I take a shower, my hair gets extra spiky. My COVID hair gets extra spiky. The only alleviation for this thing is for me to shave it down, and I'll get to that again. I'll be my own barber. I'll shave that hair down. You bet I will. I should shave some of this stuff too. Anyways, hey, I'm Eric. I'm making a game. It's a game in Unity. It's called the Godkiller. It has some controversial story stuff in it, but whatever. I won't talk about that right now. But in this game, you wander around a 3D world, solving puzzles and fighting things, and the viewpoint is relentlessly top-down. You cannot grab the camera and move it to go to a different place. That's another thing. Yeah, even if it's top-down, it's not just top-down, it's top-down fixed. So wherever you're at, that camera position is going to be affixed to you and out of your control. Which, it's not really, I'm going off on a tangent with that. Doesn't have to do with today's session. Anyways, let me go to my iPad. Alright, so I had written this morning my thoughts on what am I looking at? What am I looking at? What am I looking at? This seems a little bit off. Hold on. I might fix this a little bit. Really? This doesn't seem right. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Huh. Alright. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't be fussing with this. It doesn't really matter that much. Yeah. So it seems like my little trick of showing the iPad isn't working wonderfully, because it kind of lost its seems to have lost its connection or something. Whatever. This show is not about me futzing around with different video problems. So let's just cancel that, and I'll go back to my big stupid head view. Alright. So this morning, while I was sipping on my coffee before I started my day job, I said, how am I going to continue on this from my session yesterday? And I wrote down notes to myself. Three possibilities. One, I could just do the deserialization of this pre-processing data that I've got stored, which contains some different information about the level or the scene in Unity. I don't think that would take me too long. Another one is I can return to the decoration, which is some edit time pre-processing that adds details to the scene, and I can use the new depth scanning that I created over the weekend on that. And the last one I have, which is kind of like a side quest. If I attempt it, I think I want to attempt it in without any promises that I'll do it in this session. So the last one is checking if the level data is dirty or changed before running the preprocessor on it. So I think I'm going to try that real quick, because I remember there was an existing API that would just tell me if the scene had changed or not. If I do that, I'll do some tests maybe to see like when, according to Unity, your scene is dirty, what actually you have to do for the scene to be considered dirty. There's like an existing API to check that. That existing API is up to the job, then I'll hook it into my pre-processing trigger logic so that it will only run the pre-processing if the scene is dirty. So I think I'll give that a quick try, and either that'll work within 20 minutes or something, or I'll just give it up and I'll move on to what will be the real mission of the session, which I think I'll have be getting the decoration working. Okay. So quick demo. What is there to demo? What is there to demo? What did I get done? It's very beneath the hood type stuff. Alright, I'll just do a lame demo. Pre-process level from the menu. You saw that little, maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't, but for less than a second there was a little progress bar on the screen while it was running the pre-processing. And it just happens that right now there's not enough stuff to pre-process that that task is taking long enough to really see anything. But in a more complicated scene, it should slow down a bit, and also later on I'll be adding more tasks to the pre-processing. So what is the pre-processing for the level? It is doing analysis on the level to collect information about the level and store it. Oh, why do I always get hiccups? During streams, not at other times. Okay. Collecting information from analysis of the level, storing it in a file that would be every single time almost. The pre-processing information will be available at runtime when you're playing the game, but without doing all the calculations. So the stuff I'm looking at is the locations of floors and ceilings, which is determined with ray casting. These are stored in a data structure, which is like a height map, but it's multiple heights. So, for example, you see this cube here, which is floating up in the air. It has one height here, one floor here on top, one ceiling underneath, and then further down there's another floor here and the ceiling on the bottom side of this. So that's stored concisely inside of a data structure, and I use that data structure in the game logic to do things more quickly. Okay, another thing it stores is the relative location of all of the, I'll call them interactable game objects in the scene, to the origin, or 000, XYZ 000, so that I can use that for mapping between the board, which is a logical data structure, contain that height map I was telling you about, as well as other things, and the game world represented in the scene. So yeah, so there's that, and then the other thing I did is I made it so that it'll run the preprocessor when I click play. So you saw it just briefly. Maybe you saw it. Again, it was like on the screen for such a short amount of time. But it's the same pre-processing thing that runs when I do this. It'll also run when I hit play. So right now, as I was saying, that pre-processing doesn't take too long. Doesn't interrupt anything you're doing at all. But I can see it pretty easily in the future, getting multi-second delays. And if the scene hasn't changed, if the positions of these game objects haven't changed, if nothing has changed, I shouldn't run that preprocessor. And so I thought of like different ways of tracking whether the scene is dirty or not, like including hooks I should say, including components in all the game objects that could move around, where it checks to see if they moved around or not. There's a Unity event for that. Any changes to the transform. And then I kind of randomly stumbled on an API that just says whether or not the scene is dirty. So I want to see if I can use that. I want to see if I can remember what that was. So I kind of forgot. I think it had to do with editor application. Is that it? Let me see. Is scene dirty? Okay. So if I say Unity is scene dirty, let me see what the docs say. Obsolete. What should I use instead? See, this is exactly what I want to use, but it's telling me it's obsolete. I decided just to make... I'm in the habit of adding documentation feedback, and I thought it'd be a weird thing to soften these if I could just say, we all love you, but... I think I might just do this almost all the time. I just add "we all love you," but at the beginning. It just seems like it might confuse and delight people. Maybe it'll just irritate them. Just like it's like a group of people that all unconditionally love a stranger somewhere that's responsible for updating the documentation. Alright, is scene dirty? So what should I be calling instead? Here we go. This guy. You get upvoted. That makes sense. Okay. So what if I go It does seem like it's kind of not the same thing as what I'm looking for, though. It might work. It might work. Let me just try it. So if I save, the scene I believe is not dirty. Hit play. Actually, I might not be able to tell reliably, so let me do this a different way. What? Okay, false. What if I just click on something but don't actually change anything? Okay, cool. Now let's move something just a little bit. True. Seems pretty useful. So the one thing where it would fall down a little bit is sometimes I might run the preprocessor but not save the scene, and the preprocessor would have actually done its job and completed, and the scene wouldn't have changed afterward, but unless I do a save on it, it'll keep running the preprocessor. But I think that's okay. It's basically just gonna encourage me to be saving all the time, which is fine. And I haven't saved enough, to be honest. I've lost things and had to redo them a number of times, particularly when you run and something crashes. And that's always an irritating thing. So this isn't bad. Let me do some more tests. Save, and then now it is not dirty. True. What if I make a change in the inspector? Like I'll just say, we don't need no collider. It's dirty. That's cool. But we do need a collider. Okay. Then I'll check it again. Still dirty. Save. Not dirty. If I hit play, So the other thing I gotta check, since the pre-processing dialogue is so fast, is this actually running? No, it's not. Okay, and if I go like that, then I hit play. Okay, so there is some kind of, oops. Depth scan util 39. Okay, it's a world offset wasn't set. That makes sense though. Question is, do I want to set the world offset? This works. I'm moving on to other things. That works. That works. That works. Okay. And then So what I can do is just call this differently. I was toying with the idea of setting the world offset so that this utility would pick it up, but I didn't want to have a side effect of calling this function. I wanted to just keep it a little more pure. Let's see if it'll complete without that error now. No, I still have the error. I don't know why. 39, that looks like exactly the same error. Yeah, it didn't pick up my build. That's what happened. Which I found irritating because I built it here. Unity. I think like Unity should have something where it's not possible to hit play until it actually builds the thing that you just got done changing. There. See, that's fine. I just had an old version. Okay. So, next on the mission. The decoration. Hello. Okay. I would like to refine this thing I've got, which is used to choose the area an operation will be performed on. So I've got this thing called operation zone. And the idea is that I would just move it so that it covered the area that I wanted to decorate. I've got this routine that will go and look at all the squares there and add decorations to it. But it's got some problems. One, it's kind of hard sometimes to see like what the operation's going to apply to. I can get rid of the depth scan zone. No, I don't want to bite off more than I can chew for this session. So let me refine the mission before I like really properly get going on it. Playing with this a little more. This is the kind of thing that's annoying. So I'm trying to grab one side of this thing, right? So I can stretch it and pull it around, change what's there. But sometimes, like, it's fairly complex. The geometry inside of here, and that's a little bit difficult to click the thing that you want. You'll end up clicking other objects that are in the same space. And Pro Builder has this thing where you just keep clicking in the same spot and it'll cycle through the possible things that you might want to select, which is pretty smart. But there's occasionally times when it doesn't work very well. And you can also imagine, like, maybe there's a whole bunch of things that you could click on and it takes a long time to get through them all. So I'm just thinking, like, what's better? What's better than this? Maybe I'm messing around with it too much. Gold plating. Because it's more fun to write new code than it is to fix old code. And this exercise that I'm in is a lot of fixing old code, and it's not very gratifying compared to writing new code. Like, I actually enjoyed quite a few moments of writing the preprocessor stuff, even though throughout those sessions you could hear me complaining a lot. I suppose there's this thing too, I have to turn the renderer on and off. Actually, I don't think like it's a bad solution. Now that I think about it a little bit more. So, okay, the mission could be to get rid of the depth scan zone. Tell you what, I'm going to start with get rid of the depth scan zone. Just remove it from the code. I no longer need it. And then when I'm done with that, I'll decide if I want to keep going or not and give myself another goal for the session. So let's delete this. Okay. This is a fun thing to do, actually. Deleting code. That's actually pretty fun. Get status. Okay, but before I do it, let's save. Also, I'm going to check the status of last night's backup. It's all good in the hood. I'm proud of my little backup script. Okay. Okay, so anything related to a depth scan zone, I should be able to delete. So let me start with depth scan util. Okay. Nothing in there. Let me check zone util. Or zones? No, I think it is zone util. Let's check. Yeah, this is the stuff right here. Okay. So I need... Okay. Just delete this. So the nice thing is I've got this centralized access to these depth scan coordinates for that zone, and if I just delete every function that assumes that zone exists, I'll be able to find all the places I need to correct in my code by just compiling. Okay. comment this out just so I can kind of see how the logic worked before. Yeah, it's really hard to... Okay, so that fixes the build problem, and it looks like all the places that we're referencing the depth scan bounds are inside of level decorator, which works to my favor. All in one place, all the logic right here. So I guess the easy goal I gave myself, I just completed. I removed all the references to the depth scan zone, which used to be a box like the operation zone, but it covered the entire interactive area. I like that term. I'm going to keep using that, interactive area. And right now I have this bounding box here, which is generated automatically by analysis of the game objects in the scene. So this is this yellow box here, which is being drawn by a gizmo, is my interactive bounding area. If I take another object that is, let's say here, and I move it out over here, the box moves automatically with it. It goes like this too. Okay, so I used to have a box to define it that I had to move around explicitly. That was the depth scan zone. I just deleted all reference to that in the code, and I removed it from the editor prefab. I still have the operation zone, and there's some logic inside of that level decoration. By the way, that is going to be my mission for this session, which is a little bit ambitious. I'm going to get the level decoration to work again. So I have some logic in there, and the way it works is it says, what squares am I going to decorate? I'm going to decorate squares that are inside of the interactive area, this yellow cuboid, and also inside of the operation zone. And I'm using the term zone to mean an area inside of the scene that's a cuboid and has one of these zone game objects to define it. This is not an interactive object. It's not part of the game. It's editor only. That's why this bounding box didn't jump out here to contain it. This is just a part of editing tools. So I've got that there. And I used to compare the depth scan zone to the operation zone. Now I need to compare the interactive area, or the interactive bounds, against the operation zone to figure out what collection of squares inside of it are shared. And that will be the area that gets decorated. So I'll return over here. I'm really thirsty. I'm gonna grab myself a drink. I'll be back in mere seconds. People ask me, why are you singing? What's the entertainment you're bringing with your voice so mediocre? Is this a bad joke or you sick in the head? Back to work. Okay, let's go top level. Let's go to the top. Go to the top. Okay, okay. Okay. Scan to I suppose I should use properties at some point. know why I'm so resistant to using properties. I think it's because well, no, they're just functions, and there's nothing special about them. And maybe it seems simpler to me to have everything be a function. Like a method is a function, a property is a function. Feels like a design choice in the language that didn't have much benefit. It just made the language a little trickier. But I could see the case for using properties more because they do get across, if they're implemented this way, that there's no big CPU task. There's no great amount of code to execute. Like the work is already done. It's just a value. You have a getter and a setter for it. But as soon as I have something that happens, when I get a property, or as soon as I have something that happens when I write to a property that has a little bit of extra work, or God forbid a side effect, then like I don't want it to be a property anymore. And I suppose it's not that hard to just change it to a method if it has work associated with it other than simple getting and setting. I don't know. Also, there's like little differences in what you can do between different versions of C# with the properties, and those kind of annoy me too. So I have to start thinking too hard when I use properties. Function, I don't have to think that hard. So in other words, I'm reveling in my ignorance. Wallowing in my ignorance. Okay. So this will go out, scan the level. And since, actually I should do it this way. Oh, I know the reason why I don't like properties. Because there is a little bit of CPU work to it, even when you're just calling them as a simple getter or setter. Now this is my age showing. But I know that it's more optimal to have something in a variable and address it in that local variable than it is to call a function and to, basically... Anyways, so there is a little more work with a property, but it hides that work. And this is kind of dumb thinking, though. It's like 90s era thinking, really. It just doesn't matter on a modern machine. But like if... say there was a property like this, and it feels like I should just use it. I should use it, and I shouldn't worry about assigning it to a variable. But the optimizer in me from the 90s says, no, you shouldn't just use it. You're calling a function. It's doing some work. Even if it's like a do-nothing getter setter, it's still calling, it's still like creating like a stack frame and everything to go call that function and return. So if you just say it's a function, that'll encourage the caller to assign the return value to a variable, a local variable, a good old fashioned local variable, and not just continuously call the property of the object instance, which is a friggin' function. It disguises that it's a function and it does work. That's what I don't like about properties. But it's really pedantic, and it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Not in a modern computer that runs fucking fast. Okay, so I get the world offset, and down here, I believe, yeah, I can pass the world offset. And that will prevent this function from doing all this work a second time. Okay. So the world offset has to be set for CRH util to work, and CRH util is functions that convert between the board coordinate system, which is a logical coordinate system, it's a coordinate system used for game logic. It will convert between the board and the world, and back and forth. The CRH stands for column row height. That's the board coordinate system, and vector 3 is the world coordinate system. So CRH util converts between those two coordinate systems, and for it to work, I have to set the world offset. Which I do here. Okay. Next in the logic, generate square CRHs. So these are going to be the squares that this will run on. So let me go up to that function. See, I've got to-dos all over the place. Delete this. Now I'm kind of curious if these bounds that are returned will be correct. Okay, so why don't I pass in pass those in. Private functions, I try really hard to just pass parameters in instead of relying on referencing static variables, global variables, stuff like that. I try to have all that stuff in the kind of the top level public functions. I'm also deciding I'm going to get out of the habit of writing private in front of things that aren't public, because that's the default scope anyways. Okay. So this, I think I can just get rid of. This code I don't have to worry too much about being efficient, which is nice. It's editor code. Editor code, I try to write the easy way whenever I can. I mean, I want it to be maintainable, but I don't need it to be especially performant. Okay, so that might do that. Stop it. I wouldn't mind just permanently disabling that. It's always popping up when I don't want it to. Okay. I'm just stepping through this logic I wrote a long time ago, making sure that with the new scheme of things, without that depth scan zone, it's still correct. I don't just want to run it and see if it works, because it's just my spidey senses say there's going to be problems. I'd rather just think them through. This function no longer exists. I think I'm doing this a little bit stupid. Let me see. I just pass in world offset. And do Just stick it in world offset. I don't think I'm going to use it that often. Let's leave it here. Yeah. My wife says, okay, my room is clammy. I can't imagine what upstairs is like. And I say, dry. Because fan blowing on me. Evaporation. I live in a 4-story townhouse, and my wife is 2 floors beneath me. We send text messages. Okay. All right. So then we'll pass the world offset. So I hate this thing. Or I could just pass these guys. Let's do it this way. Out, CRH. And then we'll do ball. And we'll do that. What? Oh, yeah. Okay, that. And this. Okay. Then yeah, I already got one. Just use this instead. Okay. Okay, that should be it. Okay, so this. Alright, so this is null, or this is optional now. This is definitely some code I want to run in the debugger. So let us do that. So what is this canceled thing? What is canceled used? Oh, yeah, no, that's a good thing. Don't want to take that out. Okay. So, is it going? Not yet. I give this a 12% chance of working the very first time. Let me just at least check that the rules are set up. So I think I've just got the floor edge rule turned on. I just want to get one of them working. There's like 3 of them, but the floor edge rule is this one to start with. That's turned on. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, this should be null. Yep. Nice. Let's look at the particulars. All good. Now I'm really curious what it says for the operation bounds. I'm going to step in. Step in. Step in. $12, $10, $32. Oh yeah. 22, 1, 22. That's plausible. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back to the scene, and I can't in the debugger to check it. But these are plausible. should be able to delete this. Delete. Useless. Let's see what we got. 0, 0, 0. And then let me double check that. So 38, 34, 14. Okay, cool. Whoa. So what were all these? 32, 22. What? So max is more than min. That's weird. Twelve, 10, 32. 22, 1, 22. Okay, I'm still stuck on this part then. Let's see what's going wrong. Okay. Level bounds should be defined. I'll say it is operation overlapping level bounds. In this case, it probably was, but the bounds that were returned were off. So I gotta figure out what's up with that. Okay, I'm gonna look at the bounds. Ah. Down here it's better. Okay. So Unity's returning bounds as expected. The min vector, it's not really a vector. I mean, it's like a coordinate. Yeah, it's a vector, I guess. Vector from the origin. X, Y, and Z and min are smaller than X, Y, and Z and max. Each one of those coordinates, that's true. So it's probably going to be in this function I'm about to go into where the mistake is made. Okay, so we'll take min. Okay, I see one mistake here. So I've got these two swapped around. I'm just going to hit play because I know that's already an error, and I'll just fix that. By the way, it's kind of amazing how much grief you can get from one small decision. So this name of this thing is called CRH. It stands for column, row, height. Now, if you were to describe column, row, and height together, that might be a kind of intuitive, natural way to sequence them. At least it is for me. I always think of column and row going together, and height's kind of a third thing you add to it. Column, row, 2 dimensions. Add the third dimension, height. Okay, but in vector 3 world, the more natural way to order those is X, Y, Z. So Y and Z are flipped when I use this other naming convention for the board, which is this coordinates that are applied to game logic operations. So because I went with my language intuition instead of conceptual consistency, I've been plagued with a number of bugs throughout the life of the project, and it's too late. It's too late to switch them around without incurring like a lot more trouble. But it's interesting how seemingly small decisions early on can add up to trouble. Okay, so that should be good. Saved it. Let's see if we do better this time. 1232.2 max. 2231.9. Okay, so that's looking better. While I'm in there, let me just see if I screwed up in the same way on any of these other things. So vector 3, x, y, z, good. Vector 3, x, y, z, good. Vector 3, x, y, z, good. Okay. CRH, C to x, h to y, r to z, C to x, r to z, It's all good in the hood. Okay, do I think that this coordinate will be inside of it? I don't think it will be. Oh, wait a minute. No, I do think it will be. So C is 12. H is 2. R 23. Okay. Yep. Adds it. Okay. We're going to get some squares out of this. $792. So 792. I'm just kind of sanity check this. 790, 800 divided by 10, 80 divided by 10. Okay, so yeah, that's about right. A 10 by 10 by 8 cuboid would do 800 squares. Okay, that's probably exactly right. Okay, now let's go into here. World offset is set. 0. Yep. I think child count 0. Yep. Okay. Let's see how the board looks. Cool. 39 by 35. So I got my heights in there. Did a ray cast of the scene, and it generated this height map basically. And inside each height map, at each square there's an array, and the array contains floors and ceilings. So I find some that look a little bit different. There's a little notation over here which means something to me. It lets me kind of see how many floors and ceilings are present at each square at a glance. So here's the one where I've got one block that's way up in the air. There's like a dot dot dot, which means there's a certain amount of space in between the two sets of floors and ceilings, but I haven't specified like the exact number. It's just sort of like an ellipsis, meaning there was more than like one or two, I guess. Yeah, anyways, that's not very interesting. Okay, so we'll get the rules. So it's going to look at every single square inside of that operation zone, and it's going to say should we decorate it or not according to the decoration rules. Most of these will be empty and will be passed over in a trivial way. Some of them will not be empty, and those ones I'll look at. Okay. So this check here will basically say, is there a floor at this square or not? And then most of them there won't be. So I might as well hit play and let it scan through until it comes down to here. Good. So I found one floor square. So then it does another check to see, like, well, is this a floor or could it maybe be stairs? And I think it won't be. Okay, cool. Now it says we gotta decorate the floor. You know, I could stand to add some comments here, which are saying exactly what I'm talking about, because I have to think a little bit to remind myself what this does. Okay, so now it's creating an object which will describe the decorations to apply to that square. It depends on which sides of the floor square have edges. Oh yeah, okay. What was it doing up here? It was saying, okay, here it says, is it a floor? Yes or no. Here it says, does the floor have any edges around it? Okay, I do need to add some comments into this. Let me just say it. I don't like to add them I don't like to add any comments that change the number of lines, because that sort of messes up my debugging session. Like the position of the line that it's on gets weirdness because I've changed the source code underneath of it. Okay, so it's gonna, where do we have edges? North, other ones no. Okay, so it's gonna add a set of edges. Let me take a look. Okay. Create this decor piece. Okay, I'm just kind of reminding myself how this works. So there's no game object associated with this piece. A piece is a game logic thing which goes on a board. So when I say board and piece, think of like a chessboard and how you could represent abstractly positions of pieces on a chessboard without all the extra stuff. Like, you wouldn't say in this structure that the rook is, 1/4 inch off the center of the square it's in, because that's sort of a visual information that doesn't belong in that concise expression of game logic. You say the rook is at column B, row 2, or rank and files and all that chess notation. So it's the same thing here. How does add to board work? Let's go in there. So at some point it needs to... Oh, right. Step 1 of decoration is logical. Purely logical. So I'm not doing anything with game objects yet. But I've added this decoration piece to the board, but this is a special board. It's not the same board that I use in the game. It's a decoration board, you could say. So it does have that same concept of quantizing coordinates of things to be right on squares. But it is purely logical. Okay, cool. So that worked. And I'm just going to step up because I got some confidence. Uh-oh. I don't know. No, it's still executing. I don't know. So I gave this a 12% chance of working. No, that was the first run, and then I actually had to correct a bug. This one, I give it a 37% chance of working. It worked. Oh my god. Okay, so now you'll see the majesty. Operation zone, let's turn it off. Or at least turn off the renderer of it. And then the decoration that was added is that it put this edge around the floor here. So there's these corner pieces, and then there's these edge pieces, and then there's ones called specials, which are just randomly placed every once in a while. It's got a little light there. And then there's another type of special, which is a descender. And the idea is it's kind of like a little gutter pipe or something. Well, there's no gutters here, but you know, some kind of pipe that descends down. So that worked. That definitely worked. And I'm happy. I really am happy. And here's a thing that I definitely couldn't have done before. I can take this level and just move it wherever the fuck I want. The whole thing I can go bam, and it'll still it's still maybe not. Oh, the operation zone is in a different location now, that's why. Okay, that's a little messed up. Because I ran it, and even though the operation zone was way the fuck away, and should not have contained any squares of this, it did remove a little bit here. Alright, so let me see. If I do clear level decorations, okay. About here. Something's off. Something's off. You know what it is? The world offset was not freshly calculated when I perform the decoration. All I have to do is just create it every time. It doesn't take that long. So if I go just get it every single time, it'll be fine. There. And just so I have something interesting to look at, I will make it so it's halfway. I'll do whoa. What am I missing? Level decorator 64 says, oh, you know what? It's going to be I think it's probably an old version. That here, let me try it again. Clear. What? I thought it would do a clear on build. Huh. Okay. Well, let's see what's going on. Yeah, it's not. It's an old version. Okay, run, stop. Build all. Yeah, it's not even running in the debugger. Oh, right. Because I have got to set this inside of the other function too. Okay, got it. Okay, so since that's actually doing significant work, let's split this. Okay, this is what I have to run. Let's see. Let's call this one. Bam. Like so. This one. And I want this one to be called down here. And this way I won't look up the world offset twice because I'm already finding it up here. But when I call it from the menu, it'll go to the public version and it'll find the world offset there. So I thought, because it says clear and build, I figured it would clear this out, but it hasn't. Okay. Well, that just took everything, though. It didn't. It was indiscriminate. Huh. Okay, let me try decorating. That worked. If I go over here, okay, so there's some logical bug inside of the clear level decorations. It's not actually using the operation zone to limit what's being removed. So let me go back. Okay. So I'm only checking that it's inside the level bounds, but I need to check the operation zone too. Okay. So if I decorate here, I predict, say, 87% chance that it will not erase the edges I decorate on the other side. True that. Okay, and then let's slice a little off over here. Ah! Fuck! It's so weird. Okay. Alright, let's put the whole thing back on. Cool. So clear level decorations just yoinks everything. Weird. Weird. Why would it in one place be selective about what it clears? So I'll go decorate the level. Okay. That, yeah. Oh, doesn't help that I've gone, that. Okay, so if I say crew level decorations there should be no level decorations inside of the operation zone. So let me set the debugger on that. I bet you. That there's this clear static thing here that's causing a problem. That's probably it. The operation zone will be set in a place that is where it used to be. I don't know if this is the old location or not, but I'm almost certain it's the old location instead of the new one that I moved the operation zone to. I know how to fix that. It's an edit time function. So I could do it two ways. I could clear the static, or since it's edit time, I'm not really concerned about performance. I can make it not depend upon static. Just have this function just look it up, however inefficiently, every time you call it. And that's the way I want to do it. So that's how I'm going to do it. So then if I go to zone util, nope, no problem. Just say static. There. Here it's possible for it to return without those being defined. It's not very dry, but get rid of this. Oh. Well, I don't even need static initialization. Don't need it. Good. The static stuff is I mean, I like it, but I don't like it. Yoink. Deleting code. I like to delete code. Okay, no static. Just look at it each friggin' time. Also, this should be editor only. If Unity editor okay. Yeah, the level sectors are accessed during the game, but the operation is only for editor operations, so there's no reason to access this during the game. So I'll let it compile out. Back to the level decorator. And get rid of this. Before I forget, let's add some comments. Build it. No longer need it. Cool. All right. Ah! Okay, good. Phew. Scared me. Okay. And we'll clear that. Working as it should. Now let's get a little more precise. I want to see it just leave like one square here. Nice. Okay, let's try this way. Okay, and cool. Happy. Good time to end the session. Put in just over 2 hours. Some of it was fucking around, so let's say 2 hours of actual solid work. And I got something significant done. Yeah. Yeah. Victory. Alright. Save this. Stop in the stream. Stop in the stream. Stop in the stream. Stopping it now.